All right. Hello, everyone. This is going to be a little video about how to use GitHub Desktop to sync your local workflow and changes to files with your GitHub repository living online. The cool thing is that the company GitHub provides us with a desktop tool. It's a little user interface that looks like this. That allows us to track all the changes that have been happening to our files and push them up to the web, and as well as bring in changes that have happened online into our projects. This interface looks probably totally crazy, but no worries, I think we will all figure out how this works. So yeah, I think the next thing that you'd probably just have to do is to download the desktop tool for your specific platform. The URL, by the way, is desktop.github.com, and you'll land on this cool web page. So I've already downloaded this desktop tool, so I'm not going to do that. But once you've downloaded it, it's going to look something like this. There's going to be this bunch of stuff kind of on your screen. And the thing to do and make sure is that your GitHub desktop is linked with your GitHub account. So what you're going to do is go up to the toolbar menu up at the top, and you go over to Preferences, and you're going to make sure that this under github.com you see your username and ID. There will probably be a sign in button there, so you'll just sign in, and then you'll be all sorted out there. So once you've signed in and all is good, you're going to close that. And quite likely in this case, I'm going to start with a situation in which you've already created a GitHub repo online, and you've got, let's say, a README. In this case, we've got all this stuff hanging out in our repository. And in order to bring this repository onto our computers, what we're going to do is we're going to click this green button that says clone or download, and we're going to say open in desktop. Again, this assumes that you have GitHub Desktop on your machine, so make sure that it's downloaded and installed. But if that's the case, you're going to click open in desktop, and this pop-up will come up that says this link needs to be opened with an application. Send to, in this case, GitHub Desktop. That sounds good. And we'll open this link. And now it says clone a repository. You see all this information here. It says repository URL or GitHub username, blah, blah, blah. This is the link to the GitHub Git repo that's living online. And local path is where you want it stored. So in this case, my repository will live under this file path, but you can choose to put it wherever you'd like. So in this case, I'm just going to press clone, and it's going to basically download all of that, all those files from the web onto my machine. So now you're probably wondering, where did all those files go? Well, if you go to your Finder, you can find them living in the folder path that you specified, or you can go up to your toolbar menu where it says repository, and you can go to show in Finder. So we're going to do that, and this thing's going to pop up, and you can see, voila, there is the project. So if I open this thing with my Atom text editor, I'm going to open that thing, whoops, and you can see, hey, that's all that stuff that was just living up here. Pretty cool. So that's all that stuff which was living on the web that you edited before, now living all up in your Atom text editor. So that's super cool. And the thing is, now instead of working on the web, what you can do is say, hey, look at these changes I'm making. Let's add a rainbow and maybe a heart and a palm tree. So we've made some changes and we saved them, and the cool thing is that since Git is tracking all of the changes that are happening to these files, we can now see that, whoa, we've got some changes that have occurred on our README. Now, typically what you would do is you'd say you'd make some changes, and in the case that you're happy with them, you could save them in the Git universe by adding some kind of message. So added cool emojis, and you can say commit to master. And then this thing will pop up over here. So you see this button now has this little one with an arrow, and it says push origin. And I want to push origin because I'm curious what that means. So I'm going to click that, and there's going to be this spinny, scrolly thing moving around. It's telling us to hang on. Now, voila. All of our situation is a blank slate. So there's no local changes. And what that means for us is that we've pushed all of our local changes up to the web. So now, if we go back to our web browser and we refresh our browser, we're going to see these changes that we made and our commit message that we put in there. So now you can see, hey, you've got your files on your machine, and you can send any changes that you make locally on your computer up to the web for all the world to see. What's cool about this is later on is that, let's say other people are collaborating on a project themselves, they can then do that same workflow, make changes locally on their machine, and send them up to the same repository. And that is sort of the foundation of how this collaborative workflow starts to work on the web. Yeah, so that is that. Just to kind of round this off, let's say I decide to edit this file in the browser. I'm just kind of, I'm just in a pinch and I just need to make some changes. So let's say this is super important and I needed to add it really quickly. And I'm going to add this taxi car because that's kind of cool. Added line of text, and we're going to commit those changes. And so now we've made some changes on the web. This line is there, but if we go back here, that line does not exist. So what do we do in this situation? Well, luckily, GitHub has this nice feature where it says fetch origin. And what it's going to do is it's going to sync basically your local project with what's happened on the web. So if I press that, it's going to ask us to hang on. It's going to pull, and it's going to ask us to pull origin, which means take the stuff from the web and pull it in to our local machine. So let's press that. And now we can see, voila, this line has appeared on our README. So now you can see how this workflow kind of works. You download open your project on your machine, you download all the files. Since your Git repo is synced locally on your machine with your remote project, you can start to push and pull data basically between the web and your machine. Yeah, so that's kind of it. I think you can start to now make, let's say, new files. In this case, let's add this new file here. Let's say test coolfile.md. So now I'm just gonna say cool file. File, and let's put this cool emoji with the sunglasses. Okay, cool. And let's make that really big. So if I save that, we can see that, whoops, in GitHub, there is now a new file that's been added to that repository. So let's just say added cool file, commit to master, and now we get this push origin thing again, so we can press that, and it's going to load. And now, again, if we refresh our browser, we can see that, oops, let me go to the root directory. Haha, there's our cool file. And if we look inside there, boom, there we go. Our cool file exists. So that is the idea of GitHub. If you're using the desktop tool, it just makes it a little bit easier to like send data around. And I think that is all for this video. Alrighty, thanks for watching, and hopefully this helps you. Alright, bye!